Okay, good morning everybody. Thank you for joining me today for this webinar for ideas after graduation. Now, I know from looking at the people who signed up for this event, not everybody is graduating from their degree right now, but this presentation will be relevant to everybody. So if you're doing a master's or a degree or a PhD even, this will still be useful for you. Now, this presentation is being recorded, so you'll be able to watch it back if you want to at a later date, and you'll also receive a copy of the slides at some point either today or tomorrow. So within the slides there are some links, and you can jot those links down now if you want to, but you will receive a copy of the slides to click into those later on. So let's get started then. This presentation will probably only last about 15 minutes. And by the way, if you put comments and your name comes up, that will be anonymised before we put the recording out as well. So what I'm going to cover is I'm going to tell you 10 practical ways that you can get ideas for what you might do after your degree. And what I want you to do during going through these 10 ideas is choose at least 3, and then I'm going to ask you what those are at the end. So as we're going along, if I tell you about an idea and it's something that's new to you, or something you think, oh, I knew about that, but I haven't done it yet, I think I should have a go at doing that, then jot down the number, and then at the end you'll have an idea of which ones to aim for first. So let's get started first. So what I would like to know, if you just chat into the chat box, please. There were lots of people that signed up for this event, but I know that a lot of people sign up and then plan to watch the film rather than watching it live. So it would be really useful if just in the chat box, please would you type in what year you're in, so 1, 2, 3 or 4 for postgraduate, I'll just put postgraduate, and then also tell me what you're studying now. Thanks, Lily. Okay, so we've got computing, games development, okay, a couple of IT people. Third year English and linguistics, okay. Bit of variety here, I like variety. Okay, that's great, thank you for that. So the other thing I would like to know is if there are any careers that you're interested in now, if you could tell me what you're interested in now. If you haven't got any ideas and that's why you're here, that's fine. But if you've got some ideas, that would be useful to know as well. I can see everybody typing away. That's great. I love it when the technology works. So any career ideas you've got, anything that you're interested in, if you type that in, that would be fantastic. All right, something really specific there. Good. I like your ideas, Lily. I could quite fancy being a ski instructor as well. Again, just to say again, if you've got your full name on there, that won't go on the film, don't worry. Okay, I think everybody's finished. So thanks for sharing your ideas there. That's really useful for me. Okay, so let's get on then. Even if you've got some very specific ideas, it's always worth having a backup plan and being open to possibilities as well. So hopefully today's session will be useful to everybody. So the first idea then, when I'm seeing students, this is something I tend to tell people every time I meet students. So on a website called Prospects, there is a section called What Can I Do with My Degree? And that's something I would suggest you look at. So I've just done a little snapshot here so you can see it starts on the A's, obviously. But there's a list of lots and lots of different degrees there. And you can click on your degree and then it will give you some ideas. Not every degree is listed. So at UCLan we do some quite unusual degrees. So you might need to look through and look for the thing that's nearest to your degree title. Or if you're doing a joint degree, what you might need to do is look up both subject areas. So if you look on these, it gives you a list of career ideas. All the jobs that are listed on Prospects are graduate jobs. So you're not going to be given, I don't know, a window cleaner or anything like that. They're all graduate roles. So it's worth looking on here. And it also reminds you about the skills that you've probably got, because not everybody does a degree subject and then does a job that's directly related to their degree. So, for example, within the careers department, we've got scientists, we've got people with degrees in film studies, sociology, psychology, sport, all sorts of different things, because that's a career where you can go into it with any degree. And there are lots of examples. But you can use the skills from your degree in lots of careers, and this website, Prospect, What Can I Do with My Degree, will give you some ideas of the things that are linked to it. So that's the first idea. So number 2, if you go onto any of the job profiles on Prospects, at the very, very end, it gives you a list of similar but different things. So for example, this is the list that's been taken from the end of the school teacher job profile. It's the secondary school teacher job profile. So if somebody reads that and thinks, well, I quite like the idea of some of the aspects that are involved in that job, but I don't want to do exactly that, then it gives you some alternative ideas. So we've got educational psychologist, art therapist, and so on. So if there's something kind of similar to what you want to do, but not exactly that, look up that job on Prospects and see what comes at the end, because that can give you some other ideas. So third idea then. So on Prospects as well, there's a quiz. And when you click into this, it says take the quiz, and it actually gives you 2 versions of a quiz. And the Job Match Beta quiz is the quicker version, and the other one is a bit more involved. So I'd say definitely have a go at the Job Match Beta first of all. And what it does is it gives you some ideas based on your interests. So it's likely that some of the questions will relate to a degree, but they'll relate to completely different things as well. And then based on that, it gives you some ideas of the kind of things that would suit you. So again, bear in mind that these are all going to be graduate opportunities that you can look at, so it's worth seeing what is suggested. But because it's only based on your interests, be aware that for some people, what comes at the top isn't what you're actually going to choose to do. So when I do this, a lot of the things I'm interested in outside of my work relate to very, very competitive careers. So things like art, things like design, things like music, performing, things like that. So when I do these kinds of quizzes, at the very top, I tend to get things like TV presenter, fashion designer, and so on. But I know that I'm not really the kind of person who wants to pursue a career that's very, very competitive. So the things that come lower down are the things like careers advisor, teacher, mentor, the things more linked to what I actually do. So be aware that this has its limitations. Don't expect the top thing to be the thing you must absolutely do. It's only a short quiz, but look at all the things and think about what it's saying about you. So for example, in my job, I do get a chance to be a little bit creative, thinking about what I'm doing, telling people things, presenting things like today and so on. So look on the Prospects quiz. So, number 4, know what you really want from your working life and figure out your priorities using the career edge assessments. So depending on the size of screen you're looking at this presentation on, if you're on your phone, you've got no hope of reading this. You might want to watch it back on a bigger screen. But on Career Edge there, I've highlighted the assessments area, and it's got personality insight assessment, workplace culture, strengths, motivation, learning styles, temperament, and then everything. So if you go into that section, you can take any of those tests and it gives you an insight into what your preferred way of working is, what motivates you, what gets you out of bed in the morning. So for some people in choosing their careers, it could be they're motivated by financial gain. It could be they're motivated by making a difference to somebody. It could be they're motivated by producing something. Whatever motivates you, it's important to do that because there's a big difference between being able to do something and actually wanting to do it. So if you know what your priorities are, then you will have a better chance of linking that into a career because it's much more fun if you are doing something that you actually want to do, obviously. So have a look, go at the assessments on there and know what really motivates you. It could be that what you thought motivated you at the start of your degree, you might have discovered actually that might not be the same anymore, and people's priorities can change. But have a go at that, see where you're up to now. So number 5, halfway through already. So remember, I'm going to ask you at the end which of these ideas you like most. So jot them down as you're going along. If you're watching this on a recording, still jot them down as we're going along, and then you can see what the top 3 are that you're going to start doing. So number 5 is see what other people have done. Now, you might be watching this thinking, oh yes, LinkedIn, I'm on LinkedIn. I know what I'm doing with it. You might be watching this thinking, LinkedIn, I've heard of it, but I really don't know where to start. So if you are new to LinkedIn, you've got a couple of options to get started. One is to just go onto LinkedIn and say you're a student, and LinkedIn will guide you through the kind of things you need to be putting in to set up your profile. But also, UCLan Careers has done a couple of little films about LinkedIn. We've got a leaflet, so you can access that as well. Or you can look on Career Edge, because there's some resources there on LinkedIn too. So there's no reason not to have a go at LinkedIn if it's new to you. So this is a screenshot of my LinkedIn account. And what I've done is I've searched for UCLan and found the University of Central Lancashire. And then I've gone into the alumni section. If you've not come across alumni before, that's just another way of saying anybody that's graduated from that's associated with it. And then in the search box, you can just see it says keyword here. It's brought up 83,500 alumni. So a lot of people who are associated with UCLan have put themselves onto LinkedIn. But you can't possibly look through them all, obviously. So then put your own keywords and search terms in. So you might want to put your degree subject in. So you might put biology, history, whatever you've studied, computing, see what comes up. See who's got computing in their profile. You might put a keyword in relating to a career area. You might put in something to do with design or creative to see who's doing something relating to that. You might mess around with the years as well. So if you change the start years and end year, make it current, that's probably the best thing. But it starts at 1900 as a default. I don't think many people who are at UCLan in 1900 will be filling on LinkedIn now, to be honest. But if you make it like the last 5 years or the last 10 years, get a number that's manageable when you do your search and see what people are doing. And there's various different things on here where it's got next, where you can look through different aspects, see where people live, where they work, and sort of basically be really nosy and see what other people have done. LinkedIn is not always guaranteed to be 100% accurate, because people just put in on there what they want to put in on there. But people do tend to be honest and truthful on it. Nobody's really got very much to gain by putting things on there that aren't genuine. But just as a sort of a health warning, be aware that it is based on what they input themselves. So you can also do this if you studied at another university and you're now doing a master's. You can look up that university as well. You can look up your high school. You can see the alumni, see what they've done, see where they're working now. Oh, we've got a question. Do you want to type your question into the chat box, Deborah? And then I'll have a look. So, idea number 6 is to check out industry reports. Now, a lot of people, when they're looking into careers and looking into options, even the people that research things really, really well, tend to not spend as much time looking at industry reports as they might actually find useful. So there's a few different resources for industry reports. There's a screenshot there of Career Edge, so that's a good place to look. But not everything is included on Career Edge. So be aware that you might not find your industry of interest on there. You can just browse things, see what's on there, but you might not find something you're particularly interested in. But then listed in a much broader and similar way are industry reports on prospects and target jobs. All of these are structured in slightly different ways, but they've all got lists of key companies in that industry, some information about what's going on, what the threats are, what's happening, what the key things to consider are, where the most jobs are, and so on. So have a look at those, compare them, see which you like the layout of most, which is most useful to you. But I would definitely say have a look at them all initially. The links I've put on there are to particular industry areas, so obviously look up the ones you're interested in. By the way, although industries are all kind of responding at the minute to lockdown, social distancing, a lot of companies are closed. You'll have seen things on the news about some industries are really concerned about the future. For example, hospitality, they're wanting to know when they can open, how can they make things work. These industry reports will be updated over time, but don't be surprised if they're not completely up to date right now. So they might not mention the last few months and the impact of COVID-19, but they're there. They will be updated in time. So on to number 7, and this is something people don't think of doing very often, but it's just window shopping for vacancies. See what's out there. So look on some of the graduate vacancy websites. I've listed a few there. So there's jobs at Career Edge, GradCracker is good for STEM subjects, prospect, target jobs, they're general ones. And just window shop to see what vacancies are out there. Just have a look, see who's recruiting, see where the most jobs are, see what they want, and just get an idea of what's out there. Because you can spend forever picking what your ideal job is, but then find there aren't that many vacancies. So just see what's out there, window shop, without a particular thing in mind, just see what's out there. Idea number 8 is focus on the companies or organisations that you want to work for, and then see what jobs are on offer. So it could be that you might search for a particular company that you're aware of, and you know you want to work for them. So for example, like we've got over here, you can just search for BAE Careers UK, BAE Careers International, whatever you want to search for, see what comes up. Most bigger companies and some smaller and medium companies also have their own careers area, and they tell you about the kind of jobs on offer, even if they're not currently recruiting. So it's definitely worth looking there. If you don't know what kind of companies do the things you want to do, then search for that as well. So, for example, logistics companies in the Northwest, logistics companies UK, computer software companies UK, whatever you're interested in, find potential companies and then look on their website, see what jobs are there. Most companies who have a website will post any vacancies on their own website because then they're going to get people who are really keen on them, who really want to work with them. Or sometimes you might find on the website there's a link to an email address where it will say, if you're interested in working for us, please get in touch. We're always happy to hear from people. So check out companies you want to work for and then see what jobs they've got. Could be companies you know the name of, or find out what the companies are. Really simple, really straightforward. So number 9, you've probably seen this quote before. Find a job you love and you'll never work a day in your life. Well, I really love my job, but sometimes it does feel like I'm working. So I'm not sure if I entirely agree with that quote. But another thing to find jobs, bearing in mind that not everybody does a graduate job that's directly linked to what they studied in their degree, think about your passions. Think about what you love. So, for example, you might love football and you may have accepted that you're not going to actually be a professional footballer, but you could work for a football related company. Football companies, any companies, they still need people in human resources. They need people in finance. They need people managing their IT systems. They need people in procurement, buying things. All the business functions that they may have, they're going to need. So think a bit broader than just the obvious things. So whatever your passions are, whether you're into horses, whether you're into nail art, whether you're into cakes, think about searching for things related to what you're into. So you can just, Google the term companies for whatever, jobs relating to organisations, charities that link to something, retailers who sell whatever you're interested in, manufacturers. And I tried this out yesterday to make sure I'd not missed anything. And my example I used was hot air balloons, and all sorts of things came up. So just think about outside the box a little bit. Think what you're passionate about, think what you love, and go for those kinds of things as well. But remember, you're not necessarily going to be, if you're into theatre, I'm not saying look to perform right now. Think about all the other jobs to do with theatre and those companies. Although if you want to perform, go for it. And number 10, start looking for opportunities and unexpected things will cross your path. So this is a theory of careers and career planning called planned happenstance. And there's a link there if you're interested in it. But the basics of it is that if you start to look for things, other things will turn up. But to make that happen and give yourself the best chance of that, you've got to be quite curious. So start looking for the things you're interested in, start looking for new ideas, but be curious about finding out about things you don't know about yet. Don't just be very fixed on one thing. Be curious, see what else is out there. And be persistent. So it's important to not give up. Keep trying, keep finding out more. If you find something you want to do, you're finding no jobs there, keep trying other places. You might find something similar, or you might find an opportunity that gives you an initial role in that company that could be a step into what you want to do. And be flexible. Don't just be fixed on one thing necessarily. Think about other things that could be similar or get you into that role, or be things you've not even thought about yet. And approach it in an optimistic kind of way. So this career theory came from all the people when asked how did they find their job. They say, well, actually, it wasn't part of a plan. It just kind of happened while I was looking at other things or embracing other opportunities and seeing what was out there. So the basis of this is that if you put yourself out there, you start looking, you try to do it in an optimistic way, things will come up, even if it's not the thing you initially started looking for. I left the most complicated one for last. Okay. So, I saw, Deborah, you had your hand up, I think it was. If you want to ask a question, just type it into the box. I'm very happy to answer. But now my question is, of those, what were your 3 ideas? Top ideas. So the 3 things you think, I'm going to go away and do that. So hopefully you would have jotted down some numbers as you were going along. So if you'd like to share what your best 3 ideas are, that helps me to know what students like doing. If you're all similar, if you're all different, doesn't matter. 2, 3 and 10. Oh, Lily likes planned happenstance. Good. Thought that was a bit bizarre. Ashley's going. Thanks, Ashley. You can always watch the end later. I think you got the basis of that. 1, 2 and 4. So prospect, yeah. And looking at your priorities. Good idea. Anybody else want to share? 6. Oh, see, actually, you've gone for different things. That's really interesting. So industry reports, good to look at those, definitely. Window shopping and looking at the companies first. Okay, so that's really interesting that people have picked different things. They're all valid. They're all good ways of finding things. Obviously, I wouldn't say to try and do all 10 all at once because that's going to be too much to take on. Best to focus on a couple of things to start with. So that's great. Okay, so if you could give us some feedback, I'm going to just stop the recording because this bit's not so relevant for people. So the final thing just to tell you is that if you want to keep using our services apart from webinars, of course you are very welcome. Everything that we would normally offer in a physical way, face-to-face, in the Careers Centre, we're still offering that remotely. So we're still doing our 45-minute appointments, drop-in appointments, mock interviews. Interviews are still happening. I've been doing quite a few mock interviews with students recently. We can check applications, discuss any of your career ideas, and all the facilities on Career Edge are still available as well. Our opening times are just as normal, so we're all online, office hours. You can ring us still, that's still a valid number, email us and follow us on social media. Okay, thank you very much everybody. It's great to have some live people attend as well as watch the recording, and I hope you all have a really good day. Thank you.